Live from Soho, New York, it's Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern.
Hi, I'm Becky Stern. Welcome to the show. We're here to talk about all things wearable electronics, mainly DIY. With me is Phil. Phil, what's on today's show?
Hello, today's show has a special code, Firewalker.
You can use it to get 10% off anything in the wearables or Flora categories on the Adafruit site now until the end of today, so 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Code Firewalker, 10% off.
That's right. We'll go over Wearable Wednesday, all the things in the world of wearable electronics, including our special video of the week. Component of the week, where we look at something in the world of wearable electronics that's interesting, that's a component, that's something you can use, learn from, buy, share, all that fun stuff. Then we have Material Spotlight, things in the world of wearables.
A weird material that you might not have heard of before or don't know how to work with, and we'll give you pointers.
That's right. And then question and answers. That's when we take your questions and answer them live on the internet.
If you have questions throughout the show, you can post them up in the comments, and we will save them for a future show. All questions featured on the show become eligible for our giveaway at the end of the show. So it'll be like next week, but you post up your questions now, and we'll save them. Yeah. You can post them in the YouTube comments, or on Google Plus, or Twitter, or Facebook. We even got a fax the other day.
Yeah, we got a fax.
Question by fax.
Yeah, that was a little weird. That's okay. It's cool.
It's cool.
I got a Falcon that showed up the other day.
I wouldn't mind a carrier pigeon, you know, hey, here's a question. Right. Anyway, throughout today's show, if you want to see more about something you see on the show, there's a whole bunch of links for the show in the description box, or the blog post, or wherever you're watching this. Should we just dive right in, huh?
Yeah. First up, again, just to pay some bills, Firewalker is the code. Wasn't Twin Peaks Firewalk with me? Wasn't that one of the things?
I don't know. I'm embarrassingly not up to speed on my
Yeah, there's a Twin Peaks thing. I don't know. Someone can. There's probably a David Lynch fan out there somewhere. Let's start off with Wearable Wednesday.
So every week on the blog, we try to post up everything that's going on in the world of wearables all around the internet, which comes from some physical place, I'm told, at some point. And my friend Hannah Perner-Wilson has been like blogging up a storm on her site, making all kinds of really neat, like just different things, sensors and output devices. She's like the queen of alternative materials, and she always posts up these like little experiments with different materials, like acid etching conductive fabric to make PCBs. And in this case, this is like a speaker that's knitted out of like a copper wire, and then she puts it over a magnet. She can actually play sound out of it. There's a little video on her site. This is
and what's this one?
It's a bead. So she does a lot of projects with a conductive bead that you're like a metal bead you sew on with conductive thread to use as like a tilt sensor, because it'll be attached to a fabric and it'll like dangle and swing. And this is in case you don't have a metal bead. She shows you how to make one by crocheting conductive thread around a marble. And then you attach it at the end of that string there, and it can like dangle on a quilt or on your garment or whatever, and touch different like conductive thread or fabric pads to like to different inputs and trigger different sensors, and show like what orientation your garment is. So
it's great.
It's really cool. She's a really nice lady too, and I like all of her blog posts.
And what's this?
Oh, it's like a pressure sensitive sensor matrix, so you could like see where something is being pressed, but it's like nice and tactile, like a big cool rug or something.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so when you press it,
it's got like a whole bunch of like kind of like Charlie Plex LEDs, or like you can deduce location from like what signals are being connected. Although I don't know that she took it that far. She just put it together and was showing how you could like use it to sense like where an area is pressed.
And these are all posted on the site right now on adafruit.com/blog.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And the link to that is also our wearables categories in the blog below. And then what's also really cool is today we get to publish a fun interview with Susie Pacton. She runs the site Fashioning Technology, and she's like a design wearables consultant and blogger, and like a really good cheerleader for the whole like high fashion wearables movement. She just spoke recently at this wearable technology conference here in New York City, and we gave her some interview questions, and she did a really awesome job of like philosophizing about the future, and I wanted to read you a little. Yeah,
what would you say like is like a takeaway from that interview, if you had?
So her interview is similar to her talk, and it was like based on questions about her talk at the conference, but I think it's that she thinks a lot about like high fashion and luxury brands in comparison to like consumer electronics brands like Nike, Fuel Band, or whatever, who's making wearable electronics now on the consumer market. And her big thing is about like that they're going to have to work together a lot better and a lot more authentically in order to make the future of wearables, because it can't just be that you can get your Fuel Band in 4 different colors. It's got to be some kind of like really personally related to the brand experience technology. So she writes that she thinks that there must be an authentic collaboration between designers, technologists, factories, and development companies.
It can't be just like when everyone started making their labels green, and they were like, it's like greenwashing. It's just like, no, we're organic now. So is it the same?
Like, Diane Furstenberg can't just put Google Glass on her models in the colors that match their outfits and have it be an innovative fashion statement.
Yeah.
It was innovative in that like Google Glass hadn't been on the runway before.
Yeah.
But like once you get past the first of everything, then like what comes next? So
I like our projects that take like a color sensor and make the thing itself change color and reacts. Like that'd be kind of neat. Like Google Glass could potentially do that. It could glow a different color based on what what color you see, and then you could say, okay, Glass, change you.
But like another thing she talks about is like that the vocabularies of these two different industries are very different, and their value systems. So fashion and consumer electronics, they don't talk the same language, and so like it's difficult for them to collaborate on like long-term projects. There's so much risk associated with like a specific brand name versus like something that you want to make a bajillion of. So like. It's an interesting interview. You should check it out. I really liked putting it together for you guys.
All right.
Reading it and talking to Susie.
And today, Wearable Wednesday.
Who's
this guy?
Project. That's Ari from Anamanaguchi. We have some connections in the Adafruit house with this really cool local, sort of chiptune-ish rock band.
Is this a picture of fashion in 2040? Is this what it's going to be like?
No, that's fashion in
2013.
2013.
Okay.
Of a very specific type. But anyway, the project is the shoes this week, which are very exciting, and we worked really hard on them, and we have a really fun video to share with you.
Okay.
Bill, you're looking so serious. Why don't you lighten up? It's easy to mod your sneakers to light up when you walk, and today we're going to show you how to add Neopixel strip and a simple sensor that detects your steps with Flora, Adafruit's wearable electronics platform. For this project, we're using Velostat. What is that? Velostat is a material that becomes less resistive when pinched, so we'll be using it to make a basic sensor in the heel of the shoe that can detect each time you put your weight down. Just tape one piece of conductive thread to each side of a small piece of Velostat, forming a loop under the tape. Then pick up the tails with a needle and stitch them up the side of the shoe, connecting one to ground and the other to an analog input on the Flora board. Each time Flora sees the resistance of the Velostat drop, it knows you've stepped on the heel sensor, and it triggers the LEDs around the sole to animate, lighting up your stride. We prototyped the circuit with alligator clips before attaching everything to the shoe. Put your shoes on and bend your foot as though you're standing on your tiptoes. Mark off the parts of the shoe that bend the most, and skip these spots when it's time to glue. This will reduce the likelihood of cracking the flexible circuit board when the shoes bend. Now we need to glue the strips to the shoes. We recommend Permatex 66B silicone adhesive because it definitely sticks to the sheathing of the Neopixel strip. But be sure to test any adhesive first to make sure it also sticks to the rubber of your shoes. This AAA battery pack lives in the laces of the sneakers, and you can follow along with our complete tutorial on the Adafruit Learning System to build your own Firewalker LED sneakers. Subscribe to the Adafruit channel on YouTube, and don't miss our weekly live show all about wearable electronics with me, Becky Stern.
And we're back.
We had to do a costume change.
Yeah. Well, we thought what we'd try is the first ever shoe cam live on the internet. So you want to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, breaking all the rules. All right, so I'll look at. So these are the shoes. This is a live demo.
They look really good.
Yeah.
So Phil B worked on this project with me, and like this was his original idea of like it goes with his demon costume. Like you're walking on fire, it leaves you fiery tracks behind you. I think it's
this
really
is
nice.
Fantastic.
And so as the video says, it's like a Velostat sensor, and Phil's very sophisticated code is looking for when you like press down and then release again to trigger the animation. So if you stand still, it won't do it, but if you're walking on fire.
This is great.
And there's also another sketch included in the tutorial that is just like turns them all color. So you can try that out too if you want to change it to like in the video we show them as purple or whatever color you want.
Okay. There's lots of live internet shows that have LED shoes, but none of them do it live.
I only have one. my batteries in the other one were dead when I put it on, so I have this one.
You used them too much.
My right, I know I used them too much, so my right shoe works. Anyway,
all right.
Should we go back to the us cam?
Yeah.
Is that a good shoe cam, everybody?
Yeah. All right. Okay. And just a reminder with this, the full tutorial is on learn.adafruit.com. Becky has all of the steps that you need to reproduce this.
And you can get 10% off the supplies to make your own pair with code FIREWALKER if you check it in on them.
Yeah, and we also took some beautiful photos. Here's a shot. There's some skateboarding, of course, as you saw in the video, and then here's a really nice photo. This looks beautiful.
For the still photos, the FIREWALKER animation is tough to capture it, so we just went all over the rainbow. Why not? It shows that the LEDs can be any color that you want.
Yeah, and then we have a little animated GIF. That's always fun. Look at this. Look at me.
I put that on the site.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay. All right. Next up, component of the week. Speaking of LEDs.
We're going to keep, this is a themed show. I mean, we try to pull from it. So this week's component of the week is Neopixel strip in black and white, and I mean in the 60 LED variety, because that's what we use for the shoes. We also have it in 30 LED, so like less dense variety. And what it is if you're new to Neopixels, we'll explain them every time basically. They're addressable LEDs that have a little controller chip built inside them. And so all you need to do is provide them with power and ground, and then there's one signal line that goes to each chip from the previous one, so they're all daisy chainable. So it's a 3-wire, or like 1-wire communications protocol, 3 wires total, which is really nice. And they're very bright, but they can be any brightness you want and any color, and they're easy to code for. And so we got this question like a couple weeks ago, and some people who are newish to programming or newish to wearables in general, they had questions like, Becky, how are these LEDs addressable? I'm used to just turning LEDs on and off, or at the most maybe like PWMing them. And so I thought I'd just show you the sample code that comes in the Neopixel library, just for those of you who like no understanding of how these things work, what's going on here. So in the loop, you see it calling some functions, but draw your attention to the bottom of the screen where it says void color wipe. That's like a function definition. And you can see that what it's doing is a for loop that goes from 0 to the number of pixels there are. So like in our case, it's like 0 to 43 or whatever. And then it's setting the pixel, the color you tell it, and then it's skipping to the next pixel and addressing that pixel. So what it's doing is it's going like LED 0 turn red, LED 1 turn red, LED 2 turn red, and it's just doing it so fast that all of the LEDs will come on at once. And so that's really how you talk to it. You give it an address, like LED 43, I want you to be purple. Or in the case of Phil B's animation, working on some complicated maths to have for loops iterate through the LEDs of the shoe to display red at the right time and orange at the right time.
That's why I guess that neat effect.
Right. So I'm hoping that brief description gives you an idea of how you're like talking to it in a kind of sophisticated manner. You're not just saying on and off.
Okay. And we also have a project that uses these a lot.
Right, we're going to share with you another fun video of the City Bike helmet project, which we have demoed but not shown you the video of.
City bikes are taking over New York City, giving thousands of residents and tourists a new easy way to get around. But every rider needs a helmet, so we're going to show you how to build this project that navigates you to the nearest City Bike station with high visibility for the 20,000 trips these bikes take every day. The helmet is powered by Flora, Adafruit's wearable electronics platform, and we added a GPS and compass for navigation. The LEDs up front help guide you to one of the 330 City Bike stations in Manhattan or Brooklyn, and the whole circuit is powered by a slim, rechargeable lithium polymer battery. You should never affix anything to the outer surface of your bicycle helmet for your own safety. But we found this helmet online with these grooves, perfect for LED strip. And a single piece of our Neopixel strip travels around the grooves, placing 4 LEDs up front for navigation and the rest all over for visibility and crazy animations. You can learn how to build this project yourself by visiting the step-by-step tutorial in the Adafruit Learning System. The link is in the description. There you can also find the Arduino code, so you can customize with your own points of interest and LED animations. Just don't run afoul of your local bike light laws or any out-of-touch members of the Wall Street Journal editorial board.
Stop becriming the city!
I can't wait to see your bicycle projects on our weekly show and tell on Google+. And subscribe to the Adafruit channel on YouTube for a new wearable project every Wednesday.
Tyler Cooper.
Where did you come from?
I just magically appeared from Minnesota.
Over there. So Tyler's in town, and we thought he worked with me on the City Bike helmet and writes a lot of GPS navigation stuff. So we thought we would bring him over to chat. Tyler, can you tell us what's involved in the code that uses the compass and the GPS for this project?
So one thing that a lot of people do with GPS code is they cheat with the GPS to figure out a heading. And so one of the cool things we did with this code is we use the compass module. So if you just cheat and use the GPS code to figure out your heading, you have to be moving constantly in order to know which way you're heading. So with the compass, you can stand still and just turn your head back and forth, and it will navigate you to where you need to go. So that was kind of the cool feature of this helmet that was new.
It's a very convenient and interesting combination of sensors to get your heading from the compass and then the location from the GPS, and then like anywhere you are, any speed you're going, it'll tell you which way the bike station is. And then you were saying something about how there's like 330 bike stations programmed into here. Was it filling up the memory?
It did fill up a lot of the memory, but it wasn't. We didn't even know if we were going to be able to get that many on there. But there's still room for. New York is constantly adding more stations, so there's still plenty of room to add more in there.
Mm-hmm. Or to like do something like there's more space to have your project do something else if it's not a bike helmet.
Yep.
Or
And thankfully, the company that created a website that allowed you to track. It wasn't the official website.
Oh yeah, it was like a bike share, like worldwide bike share database.
And they
site.
had a API, and so we took the API and kind of wrote a little script to scrape out the bits that we needed, so we could literally just copy and paste the code directly from the script right into the Arduino sketch, so we don't have to do any extra work.
So that makes it really easy for someone to modify the project to a different city, and also yay open source.
Yeah, and I think that Justin who wrote the script, I think he did write a page on the City Bike guide. He added a page for how he got the coordinates off of
that's cool.
the site.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
right,
can,
in the guide.
Yep,
Yeah.
so you can add more cities.
Okay, Tyler. Well, stick around because I know you've been waiting for this all week. It's Material Spotlight.
I know Tyler has been waiting for Material Spotlight.
You wouldn't stop talking
Absolutely.
about it.
Actually,
Material Spotlight.
I forgot to bring over this week's Material Spotlight, but we can let's look at some photos.
Okay.
The Material Spotlight this week is Velostat. It's what we use to make the sensor in the shoes that we just showed you with the shoe cam. And in the office here, we jokingly call it like the trash bag, the black trash bag. Hey Becky,
Yeah.
I need to cut more of the black trash bag. Because that's what it looks like and feels like, kind of like a very thick black trash bag. But it's actually a very fancy material. It's not a trash bag at all. It is similar to like anti-static foam that you press your chips into. It becomes less resistive when you pinch it, so it conducts slightly more electricity when you pinch it. And so we were able to put it then in the heel of the shoe to make a step sensor, but you could also put it in like a glove to make a bend sensor, because if it's bending, you could compress the contacts. We just use conductive thread to it more tightly, or you could put it underneath like flooring.
Yeah, like
in
a
your
floor
house.
mat. You could do.
Yeah, and it's very inexpensive, so you could like make really big sensors out of it and put them under stuff.
I'd done a lot of projects with the force-sensitive resistors, which we also sell.
Yeah.
And those are a little bit more pricey, and they're very fragile. So
Right,
this
and-
stuff is
Yeah.
great because it's cheap and it's bulletproof.
It's so silly that FSRs are so fragile because they're designed to be pressed against.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to break them if you put
Yeah.
them in your shoes, and they're expensive. So this stuff is great because you can make a sensor any shape you want. All you do is tape conductive thread to it, which is
Yeah.
really easy. There's no extra weird code.
Yeah.
We did use the pull-up resistor on the analog pin so that we didn't have to use an external resistor, but like that's the only trick, and it's in the tutorial.
All right. And if you want to get some of this stuff for 10% off, use the code Firewalker.
Everything in the wearables and Flora categories is 10% off until 11:59 tonight, Eastern time.
All right. Well, stick around for the question and ansers.
Tyler has lots of...
Becky's on fire.
He's-
Well, her shoes are on fire.
My shoes
Yeah.
are
All right. It's question and answer time. Here we go. All right. First question. Any flexible solar panels coming soon?
Yes, Phil, show the picture.
Yeah.
I cheated a little on this question. This dude posted this question like the day we launched the flexible solar panels.
You've got a question?
But that's okay.
We have answer.
Don't feel like it's a gotcha, dude, because you're entered in the giveaway. So yes,
Yeah.
we have a flexible solar panel. We just got it in the store.
Great. Okay.
That was
You
an
ask,
easy
we
question.
deliver. Okay. Next up, you want to read this one?
Yeah, sure. Are there any resources you suggest for learning more stitches? I've learned everything I know about sewing from your resources, such as the conductive thread tutorial.
Yes, so like just like electronics, sewing and crafts is a whole thing. It's its whole thing. Like my mom taught me how to sew when I was like 6 years old, and I've been doing it, and I wasn't proficient until I was like, 16, 17. So there are a lot of great resources online for crafters. It's just like we were talking about fashionistas and consumer electronics people speaking a different language, like crafters and like electronics hobbyists, you're both DIYers, but you don't necessarily speak the same language. So I wanted to show you my favorite site for like embroidery tutorials is this one, needleandthread.com.
Okay.
And it's just got lots of like little how-to videos and diagrams for stitches. So if you're looking for like a new decorative way to carry your conductive thread from point A to point B, but I also recommend just practicing, like learn how to hem your pants and like get a good understanding of like how garments are put together, but also practice hand embroidery. So I should not be the be-all and end-all of your sewing instruction, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Next up. How would one place a speaker within a pillow so you're able to place your ear to the pillow and hear a sound from a plugged-in device using a 3.5 millimeter jack, i.e. phone, MP3 player, but still be comfortable to rest your head on?
I had a couple ideas for this project question. So one would be, earlier in the show we showed Hannah's weird knitted speaker, and that was just like wire mesh laid over a magnet, and that's pretty cool, it could be embedded, but I don't think it's very loud. Another idea would be to use those bone conducting inductors that we talked about when we did the Synapse like headset teardown, and they like vibrate your skull to simulate sound, so you would put that in the pillow. But like you could also get a Bluetooth speaker or a plug-in 3.5 millimeter audio jack speaker on Amazon or whatever that's kind of like flat-ish, like a portable speaker, and just put lots of padding around it.
Yeah.
So lots of options.
Okay. Speakers are cheap too, so you can do a lot of experimentation.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Hey Becky and Phil, I built a solar power system on my courier bag to power wearable projects. I'd like to drive 2 Neopixels chips and several sensors on an Arduino platform, and it looks like the Flora has all the voltage regulation needed to connect directly to an Adafruit 390 solar charger. What's the best way to calculate power consumption and battery life for a project like this? Okay, it's math time.
It's math time. Yeah, it's math time for you, buddy. To calculate power consumption, you can look at the product pages for the things you have. The Neopixel strip will tell you how much current the pixel strip will draw at maximum brightness if all of the LEDs are white. So you can add that to how much power the Flora uses itself, and every product page will tell you how much current the things draw, and that can tell you like how many amps you need. You can't, unless you want your circuit to only be on when it's in bright sunlight. You're going to need to charge a battery with that solar charger, right? You can't just, and it could be that you only want your circuit to be on when there's full sun. But I would add an intermediary step.
You'll need a battery.
And it's easy though with that solar charger because there's a battery plug, you can plug in the battery, and then there's a load plug. So you can be slurping power straight from the sun when there is a lot of sun.
You don't have to disconnect anything.
Right, you don't have to disconnect anything. It'll be charging the battery when there's sun, and it'll be using the battery when it's, So use a battery, look at the product pages, but then you can only really get an estimate of your power consumption because if your LEDs aren't all on all at once, they're not going to draw that much current, but you can get a minimum idea.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, next up, can you use EL wire with the Flora?
We don't currently have any circuit boards available to you to control EL wire with the Flora. EL wire shocks people a little bit. It's safe, but it hurts. It's like ouchie. This is a Super Bowl project I did with the EL panel, and I kept touching the edge of it. So we don't want people to have a bad time or shock themselves, and so we don't have an EL sequencer board right now. But you can. We have lots of different EL inverters available for any project.
Most projects just need an inverter because people just want to turn something on or off or blinking. And inverter does it most of the time. And we have splitters and all that.
Sure. So you can make your project just fine. But if there's like that dance troupe or whatever that was on America's Got Talent, they have sophisticated EL sequencers that like have the different segments light up according to a program. We don't do that now.
Yeah. Next up, one more question after this one. I'm looking for Neopixels, but ones that carry half the power, about 300 milliamp hours. Does anyone know where I can get these? Do you guys at Adafruit have any idea how to produce these?
I think there's no such thing as a silly question, but
Yeah.
the Neopixel strip will draw less current if you tell it to be less bright.
Yeah. So there you go.
So instead of telling your LEDs to be 255, 255, 255, which would be like maximum white, make them like 150, 150, 150.
And that'll draw
Reduce
less
the
current.
current draw, right, Tyler?
And they are, yeah, so you're essentially turning it a switch on and off very fast.
Right.
So it's what pulse width modulation is doing.
Okay.
So we don't sell less bright LEDs, but you can also, if you want them dimmer, often, or what the Neopixel strip says it's supposed to be powered with 5 volts, but I power it with 3.7 from a LiPo all the time, and it's slightly less blinding, but still super blinding. So like that's another way to dim your LEDs is to use a little bit of an under voltage battery pack. But yeah, just tell them to be less bright. They'll draw less current.
Okay. Last question. My question for the show: are there any wireless modules for Flora, for example, an RF radio module or Bluetooth?
We're working on some interesting things. However, right now, I can point you to one example of using our simple RF remote modules with
Yeah.
Flora, which is just like a pretty short range, simple, like 4 switch, like a garage door remote, and that's on the Brake Light Backpack project, where you want to be able to trigger your turn signals from up here. But we have some things in the works.
Yeah,
but nothing yet.
I can say it's not out yet, so I can't talk about it more. But Bluetooth modules coming. We just released the CC3000, which is a Wi-Fi module.
Although we're going to work on the library, right?
The library
so
is up, and people are doing cool stuff with it.
The library, though, right now it works with the 328 core, but we're going to make it work with 32U4.
It'll work with everything, and we're going to have a wearable like Wi-Fi Arduino thing.
Sure.
So it's all coming.
It's all coming.
Cool.
But for now, use the simple RF module.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's fun, easy thing.
It's hard to do stuff right, so we don't release fast and say good luck. We actually spend time on it, so it's taking time.
I'm going to post one of these questions every single week until those modules are out, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds fair, right?
Next up, you're going to give away something.
I'm going to give away a meter of Neopixel strip in black, so that you can make you can start your shoes.
Yeah.
You can, Phil B's original shoes only used 1 meter, and he cut it in half and wrapped it not all the way around the shoe. We insisted that the LEDs go all the way, on our shoes go all the way around, but let's get you started. And
maybe Tyler can pick it.
Oh yeah, Tyler can pick. So
he's from Minnesota, so there's no shenanigans.
if you want to be eligible for a giveaway, you ask a really excellent wearable electronics question in the comments or on Twitter or Google Plus or Carrier Pigeon. And if I ask your question on a future show, you are eligible to win. So all of the questions we just asked, those are who's in the bin right now. Tyler's going to select a winner.
The winner is Christopher Hills.
Congratulations.
All right.
You
We will send you a
are the
message.
winner.
But also, if you are watching right
You
now
won.
and you want
Won
to send a message to support@adafruit.com, we'll get your prize out to you. And I'll also send you a message on this looks like Google+.
Okay. Great. All
That's
right.
this week's show, right on time.
Perfectly timed. Thank you for joining us, Tyler.
Yeah,
This
it
was
was
really
fun.
cool. You're normally in Minnesota, and we beam you in
Right.
for
my
our
first
weekly
live
meetings.
show. I
Yeah.
feel like a celebrity.
And Tyler will email code to each other. Becky, try this. It was especially
Yeah.
funny with the GPS code because we have to change the coordinates out and
Yep.
he'll be looking at the map of New York and I'll be looking at the map of Minnesota.
Yep.
It's really fun.
We'll have to do an Oculus Rift thing where you can kind of walk around New York.
That so sick.
You can walk around
Depends
with
on the
it.
animation, I guess.
Yeah.
Tyler and I are working on it. If we want to do it, it's not out yet. We're working on a cool upcoming Flora project together that uses the GPS and the Neopixel ring.
Yeah, that is going to be
It's
cool.
pretty awesome.
Okay, folks, don't forget the code is Firewalker.
Firewalker.
Expires tonight at 11:59. 10% off everything in the wearables and Flora category. Send your questions on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, comments on this video.
We'll see you
see
next week on another episode of Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern.
All right, everybody.